Okay, part 2. This is about the mind, this thing that doesn't stop 24 hours a day. Have you ever noticed if you wake up in the middle of the night, this starts, it's immediate. So us yogis, we talk about rumination. You may have heard this word before. Ruminating is when we have these thoughts in our head, which could be completely false. They could be in relation to something that happened in our past, a fear that we may have, that we have these thoughts and ideas in our heads that a lot of times don't even make any sense, or we have fears of things that will actually not take place or not happen. And so recognizing that we have this brain, this mind that a lot of us call a monkey brain. This monkey brain, it's on 24 hours a day, and a lot of times it's deceiving us. We're either living in the past, and so we're reliving the past over and over thinking, how could I have done this different? What if this person had said something different? Should I have done this? Should I have said that? So we're either living in the past, bringing our past into our present, or we are fearful of the future. One of the greatest uncertainties is not knowing what's going to happen in the future, what's waiting for us. And that is part of the process of being alive and living this human life, is that we don't know. All we know is the present, but the mind doesn't want us to live in the present. The mind wants us to be either in the past, in the future. It wants to bring in these ideas that are completely false. They are the shadow. This monkey brain that we have, it can get pretty dark in there, right? So we're living from the dark or we're living from the light. The light is coming from the soul center. The mind is playing tricks on us, and it's telling us things that a lot of times are not true. One of the things that I want you to do is to recognize that you are not your mind. You're not going crazy. You're not losing your mind. This thing doesn't stop. One of the goals of yoga is to slow it down and to recognize that we all have this monkey brain. Even my spiritual teachers haven't been able to quiet it. You know, they say they still have it, but they recognize it. And so one of the greatest things to do is meditation. Meditation helps us to slow it down, to see it for what it is, and to recognize the thoughts as they're coming in. Having that awareness, that moment-to-moment awareness that we have these thoughts and that they're not always true, and that we have to question them, not to believe everything that our mind tells us, because it will put us in a very dark and lonely place. And that's not what we're meant for on this earth. We are meant for so much more than that. And so when we start to connect back to our heart and recognizing the messages that our heart's giving us, which could be not exactly what we've been conditioned to listen to. So it could be based on the home that you were raised in. If you had parents who were very ego-driven, and they may not have even realized that they were living from their ego or from their shadow versus living from their light. And so when you start to understand all of this and you sit with people and you see where they take their conversations. And so if someone is gossiping a lot, if they're talking about other people instead of talking about ideas, if they take the conversation to a place that doesn't make you feel really good inside. One of the things that I recognize within myself is when I'm with someone and I don't appreciate where the conversation is going, I tend to medicate more with food. And so I'm making up for that feeling uncomfortable of where this conversation is with this person, because they're living an ego-driven life versus a heart-driven life. And so I tend to consume more food. And so that's something else that you can recognize if you're living moment to moment and you have that awareness, that consciousness of being awake and recognizing that you are not on cruise control. And so for a lot of us, we're living our lives based on the past, based on habits, based on conditioning, and we're living in cruise control, not really waking up to the present moment. And when you do wake up to the present moment and start to live in the here and now and recognize that this is all that we have, what is the truth? The truth is that we are all these beautiful beings with infinite potential, with infinite love for ourselves and others. Then you can start moving towards your soul. What is something that you can start doing to recognize that this monkey brain exists in all of us? I want you to start recognizing your thoughts. So close your eyes whenever you can. You can be at school, you can be at work, you can be at home, wherever you are, and start recognizing the thoughts that are going through your mind. Which ones are positive? Which ones are negative? Which ones are real? Which ones are not real? Start to recognize, start to be aware of what your mind is telling you and where you're going with your mind. And can you you bring yourself back to reality? Can you bring yourself back to the here and now? And what that could mean is touching wherever you are. Touch the couch, touch the chair, put your feet on the ground and recognize that I am here. I am not 10 years ago when I was suffering this. I am not in the future worried about where it may go. I am here and now. I am safe. And whatever I do now is going to be the cause, either good or negative, of the future. And so I am going to start to dedicate attention and focus to transforming the thoughts that I have. In my next video, I'm going to talk about connecting to your soul and what it means to have a healthy and happy soul. Don't forget to like and subscribe. See you next time.